So one of the best ways to see the systems of the future being used today is in our very own Discover Gallery. And this is a video exhibition of remarkable real-world ignition applications that were developed and submitted by members of the global ignition community. Each project is a comprehensive video case study that takes you deep inside the problem they faced, the solution that they built, and the specific challenges and technical details along the way. We collected submissions earlier this year, and we went through a rigorous selection process to choose the 18 exceptional projects you're going to see in the gallery this year. For those who are selected in the Discover Gallery, it's an excellent opportunity to showcase their finest work and share their ideas with their peers. For those of you attending and seeing the Discover Gallery, it's a great way to get new inspiration for your own work and to see what professionals in other industries are doing with the Ignition platform. Out of the 18 projects, 12 will win Discover Gallery awards, and 6 projects will win the prestigious Ignition Firebrand Awards. These awards represent excellence in ignition application design and implementation, as well as the collaborative spirit and commitment to outstanding customer service that sets the ignition community apart. All of the Discover Gallery project videos will be made available to view on our conference website and when the conference starts, so attendees will be able to get inspired by all of that work. Just to show you the variety of Discover Gallery, these are the industries that are featured in this year. There's aerospace, agriculture, automotive, food and beverage, government, iron and steel, mining and aggregates, cement, oil and gas, packaging, paint, plastics, power, transportation, and water wastewater. So it's a really big mix of great projects that we have. Another way at the conference to see modern projects being built is a totally unique experience at ICC called the Build-a-Thon. So to give you a little bit of backstory here, back in 2018, we had an idea. Ignition lets you build great applications really quickly. So what if we built something live on stage? And that was something that Kevin and I had always done, in demos when we would show people what Ignition can do, is we would just build something live and literally they say, hey, can I do that? We'd do that. And we thought, well, that'd be fun to do it on stage. And to make it even more fun, what if it was a competition? So our first couple of Build-a-Thons were competitions between myself and Kevin with some sideshow commentary and entertainment from Kent Melville. Then starting in 2021, we turned into a competition between small teams of integrators to get our integrator community involved and see what they can do to show off their chops in Ignition. And now the Build-a-Thon has become a very popular tradition at ICC, and we can't wait for this year's competition. So back in May, many of our premier integrators applied to participate in this year's Build-a-Thon. From them, a group of 27 integrators were chosen to participate. This group of 27 will compete in a Build-a-Thon elimination challenge that will be live streamed on August 7th. So that's next week, so don't miss that on our YouTube channel. The top 2 integrators that win that elimination challenge will face off in the final competition at ICC on September 18th. And then you, as the ICC audience, will be able to vote live to determine the winner. So Kevin, Kent, and myself will be on stage to support the competitors and entertain the crowd. And then to make it even more fun, the Build-a-Thon this year has a fantasy-based theme called the Lands of Ignition. So expect to see some Ignition wizards, ancient monsters, and even some mischievous Ignition sprites. I hope you see it, and it's going to be so much fun. So stay tuned to come next week for the Elimination Challenge, and then come to ICC so you can see these teams build and show off their amazing projects that they do live. We've got one other competition that's happening at ICC as well, and this is open to the entire Ignition community. It's called the Ignition Exchange Challenge. If you don't know, the Ignition Exchange is a place to get free Ignition resources that are built by and for the Ignition community. So if you upload a resource to the Exchange by August 31st, you will be automatically qualified for the Exchange Challenge. The winning resources will be announced on stage during the Build-a-Thon event and on the Exchange website. You've got 1 month left to create and upload a resource, so hurry, don't wait for that, do it now. We are so eager to see all the amazing resources that you guys create. All right, one of the fastest growing aspects of Ignition is its technology ecosystem. And with over 30 exhibitors and more signing up every day, there is no better place on the planet to explore it than ICC. The Ignition technology ecosystem is a growing network of innovative companies coming together to push industrial automation forward. At this year's Ignition Community Conference, you'll get an exclusive look at how the world's top technology providers are building powerful, flexible, and future-ready solutions that work with Ignition and, of course, with each other. From edge computing to cloud analytics, from smart sensors to enterprise-scale integrations, it's all here under one roof. Powered by open standards and designed for interoperability, the Ignition platform is the platform that brings it all together. And when you combine the power with the creativity and expertise of the broader ecosystem, the possibilities are endless, and it all starts here. And if you're interested in exhibiting, there is still time, but you've got to jump in soon because the spots are filling up. But this year, we're very excited that the exhibit hall isn't the only way to see the ecosystem in action. We're doing something brand new this time, and I'm excited about it. We're partnering with ProveIt to bring a new level of energy, insight, and ingenuity to these exhibitor showcases. So here's the backstory. We participated in the ProveIt conference in Dallas back in February. It turned out to be a great showcase for Ignition, and it was one of the best and most unique events that I'd ever been to. And it got us thinking about whether we can bring that to the exhibitor showcases that we have at ICC. And great news is we were able to make this collaboration happen, and we're bringing it this year. So Walker is here from ProveIt to tell us more about this. So Walker, first, let's give some background on ProveIt. How'd you come up with it, and can you explain what it is?
So ProveIt is a conference. You guys can go to ProveItconference.com to see what ProveIt is. But where did the idea come from? The idea came from really the questions that end users always ask when they are trying to decide how to solve their problems. And oftentimes what they would ask is, how do I compare solution A with solution B? How do I decide whether to go with this solution versus this solution? Or number two, they would say, can I see an example in real life? Can I see a real example of this solution? And obviously that's pretty problematic, because most of the time, if you're digitally transforming some large manufacturer, they are not going to be very open to you sharing their solution with people outside their organization, non-disclosure agreements and all that kind of stuff. So starting in 2018, when my former integrator, Intellic Integration, was doing a digital transformation initiative with a flexible packager, we struck a deal with that flexible packager to be able to use their data infrastructure in future demonstrations. And without that ability, without the ability to be able to record that manufacturing facility, ProveIt would not be possible. So I want to say thank you to that manufacturer for being willing to do this. Number two, the idea was take unified namespace, which is blown up all over the world. Let's bring in as many vendors as humanly possible on one common digital infrastructure, the virtual factory. It's a flexible packager that's recorded for 1 hour, 414 sequences, MQTT, OPC UA, SQL backend. You can access the work orders. You can access the master data model. The integrators come in, they look at the infrastructure, they have access to it, and they go, this is a problem I would solve. Here's the problem I would solve for this manufacturer. And then they solve it. And then they go on stage and they present and they go, this was the problem we wanted to solve. This is how we solved it. They demo it. They say, this is how long it took and this is how much it cost. And we had an opportunity to show end users digital transformation in practice on a real virtual factory. Every vendor was working with the exact same infrastructure. So Colby reaches out, says, hey, Walker, we'd really like to have you guys do ProveIt at ICC, but let's shake it up a little bit. So what we did is there are 15 vendors who are participating. We put together a plan using our existing virtual factory from ProveIt 2025. There'll be different virtual factories for next year's show, but we're using the same virtual factory as we did in February 2025. But here are the rules. The integrators and the vendors, they have 6 weeks to build their solution instead of 16 weeks, what people had at ProveIt. Okay, they have 6 weeks. They must use Ignition. So they've got to use their product and they have to use Ignition. So the unique opportunity here, the difference between ProveIt in February and ProveIt here is every solution will have Ignition as a part of it. So if you're working with Ignition and you want to see Flow software with Ignition, or you want to see Attenta Analytics with Ignition, this is the place to come see it. Okay. So the vendors are all working on their solutions right now. They're using our virtual factory. They're using the HiveMQ MQTT broker. They're using our OPC server and the database to build their solutions. Okay. And then they're going to present in the exhibit hall, in the ProveIt area of the exhibit hall on stage at ICC in September. What is our virtual factory? Our virtual factory is a flexible packager that prints they do flexible printing, they do lamination, they do slitting, and they make bags. Okay. There's one common unified namespace. Some examples of the existing dashboards that are already at this customer on the right-hand side. You got the operator overview on the top, and you've got the executive summary and the production dashboard at the bottom. Our virtual factory is based on this facility. What we have is, this is the virtual factory infrastructure. HiveMQ in a clustered environment. We're using Portainer to manage all of our containers, and we're using Ignition to actually run to actually do all the data operations. So Ignition is hitting the back end every 10 seconds, grabbing the recording of the virtual factory and publishing it into the MQTT broker, which then publishes into our OPC server, which then publishes into the unified namespace as Sparkplug B. We have 3 possible UNS access points. They're all exactly identical. And there's a SQL backend. And on the right-hand side here is the unified namespace from Virtual Factory. And you'll notice you've got Flow software there, Consnow, that's Snowflake, and Concept Reply. Snowflake is one of the folks that'll be there this year. Flow will also be there. Maintenance. You got Inductive Automation. IACL is Inductive Automation and CirrusLink. And then you have the actual factory. Press 103, the laminators, the bags, the slitters, et cetera. That's what they're all working with. And so what's going to happen is they're all working on their solutions right now. Another difference is we're going to have the ProveIt booth, where you're going to be able to interact with the unified namespace of the virtual factory and see other solutions that we will be providing as the conference chairs.
So let's and this is all really exciting. Let's take a moment to talk about, like, if I'm a customer or end user integrator that's coming to ICC, and you talked about there's 15 vendors. I think we're gonna have a couple more that'll be coming on.
Yep.
I get to go into this room, and what am I going to see? I'm going to be able to like look at all these solutions and get what?
What I'm going to get to see is I know the plant that they're working with. I know the data that they're working with. I'm going to get to see that. I'm going to see how it's structured, and then I'm going to see their thought process and how they use their solutions to solve problems digitally. Okay. So, like, for example, Inductive Automation and CirrusLink worked together last year, and Opto22 did a presentation all on their own. The solutions that they built were completely different, but both of them were solutions that the actual manufacturer wanted when they watched the recordings. They were like, hey, this is a solution I actually want. What an end user gets is they get the point of reference. They get the understanding of how solutions are built, how long they take, and how much they cost. And by the way, those are the things they care about. They care about how can I trust you to solve my problems? ProveIt is the vendor coming and proving their bona fides. The advantage here, though, is every one of these vendors, HiveBite, HiveMQ, Atanta, Kanoa, Maintenance, Opto22, Safety Chain, Sepasoft, SiteSync, Snowflake, Sorba AI, Thread, Axelon, all of them are going to be showing off their solutions in our virtual factory, but also in conjunction with Ignition. They must use Ignition. And newsflash, digital transformation is a strategy about making data the primary commodity in your business. And you don't make the data your primary commodity in your business with one solution. Where else can you go to see Ignition and Flow working together to solve a factory's problems? That's what ProveIt's all about.
It's so exciting. I mean, we're going to see actual demonstrations of all these solutions working together with a common infrastructure, a common data model that see UNS in action. I mean, and people get to interact and play with it and see it. And if you're trying to make decisions about where you want to go with your digital transformation journey, this is the place to go and see what's out there, what's possible.
I'll say this, Travis. Last year at ProveIt in February, the number of manufacturers who told us that they came to ProveIt to pick their vendors for 2025 blew our mind. It never even occurred to me they would do that. And the same thing is going to happen here. It's why people go to ICC. People go to ICC not for September. They go for ICC from September to September. They want to know, what am I doing from September to September of next year, strategically, business development wise, and solutions wise. And that's what ProveIt is all about. It's a marriage made in heaven. ProveIt and at ICC.
It's all about showing what's really possible in this ecosystem. As you can see on the screen here, the amazing lineup of companies that we have, the 15 so far. We have a couple more slots that will be filled up here. We are really excited about this collaboration. Thanks so much, Walker, for helping to make this happen, to really shine the light on digital infrastructure and what this ecosystem can do. And I can't wait to see everything happen this year.
It's going to be amazing. It really is. Some of these solutions are from February to now. Obviously, model context protocol has become a big deal. And some of the solutions, I've seen the functional specifications. There's a lot of agentic AI in there. There's a lot of agentic AI, which is going to build on what we did in February.